Hello, my name is Lovie Olivia. I am a visual artist living and working in Houston, Texas.
And my name is Preetika Rajgariah, and I'm a visual artist also living and working in Houston, Texas. And together, we are Two Dykes and a Knife.
For Diverse Works Visionary Futures, we came up with the idea of EQUI. And EQUI is a dinner that features 6 guests,
6 courses,
6 feet apart, at our home in our backyard. It's a gathering that is expected to create amazing dialogue, curate some amazing dishes, and some lifelong experiences.
The first course, or the amuse-bouche, is a puffed rice kichia with a pink peppercorn tarragon sweet potato, paired with charred grapes and mascarpone soursop cream. The entire thing is dusted with a collard green dust.
Okay, the collard green dust.
Yeah.
It's
like little flavor bombs.
so special.
I'm always amazed at the combinations people come up with. Like, I would never think to put these things together, but they taste amazing together.
I mean, the mascarpone soursop cream.
Yes, that's delicious.
It just makes me think of, like, why haven't I experienced this in, like, a key lime pie? Now I'm just like, mascarpone soursop, like the key lime pie version.
I think back to when I was younger. My mother, growing up, my mother didn't get a car till I was in high school. So she was very dependent on friends for transportation. And being a single mother raising 4 of us, she would buy groceries for like a little over a week because she didn't know when the next time she would. And just thinking about having to plan meals for 4 kids for a little over the week. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a hard time. I take for granted I can just go to the store and, But thinking back on that and comparing it to now and having my own child and just having one, I have much more appreciation for my mother and what she had to do with such limited resources.
And like at the beginning of the pandemic, we were in New York, and I actually had like a panic about getting Asian groceries because I didn't feel safe going onto the subway. And I had to take the subway to get into Chinatown, and it's only like 2 or 3 stops away. It's close. Like I could actually like probably just walk the bridge if I really wanted to go, but I was also scared to go outside. And so I ended up like panic, like my brain went to scarcity mentality. I ordered like a case of fish sauce, like things to be delivered. And looking back on it, I'm like, wow, I was freaking out because I have enough fish sauce now for the next several years. But that's like, I was panicked because I don't have that independent community grocery store that services the type of foods that I need nearby.
So we have here a vegetarian gumbo that's base is okra, which literally translates to gumbo. It is kidney beans, okra, a bunch of herbs and spices, and it has a puffed crunchy rice featured here because we have so many carbs going on. We didn't want to give you a whole pile of rice. And then I just love this approach to fried rice where it's almost like a popcorn. And then it's served with a blistered okra stem and powdered dried okra.
So I'll finish of course I was already talking about it was my grandmother, but also my grandfather. They adopted me, so I treated them as my parents. And my grandfather was also a really good cook, but barbecue was his specialty. It was his thing. Won lots of awards for barbecue, and gumbo was actually my grandmother's favorite thing to cook and my favorite thing to eat. But I like a lot of rice. I'm like rice with a little bit of gumbo kind of person. So this is actually a really good alternative though. Like this feels, this feels, just as close as I would over rice my gumbo.
Harrison, I feel like how you were talking about your grandmother teaching you how to cook, and how you were talking about how you were teaching your students Like there's something about intuition in both of those things.
Oh, you don't want to get me started on the parallels between people who don't know nothing.
Don't what?
People who don't know nothing. Like all of the skills that I have are from a community of people who didn't make it past middle school. And you're right, like that gut instinct, that kind of like, and really I think that I related really to they did humanity well. Like the Sunday dinners I was talking about, at our Sunday dinner, you would see the person walking the street in our community who people had thrown away. My grandmother would invite them in, and the way she invited them in, I would watch her, and the first thing she would say is, "What do you want us to call you? Like, what do people call you? You know, like how can we make you feel at home today?" And so I think about that in relation to like trans people and how we can do this, right? How we can let people lead the conversations on who they are. We've done this before. And then she would say, "Wash your hands with me. Let's wash our hands together," so the person didn't feel dirty. You know, like I'm dirty, but you're not. Let's wash our hands together. Yeah, it was just that, and it was a ritual. This was every Sunday, my entire upbringing. And it was really beautiful to watch. The Sunday table would be someone like that, us who live in the house, and then her best friend was a first lady. So the pastor, his wife was there, and just this really diverse table of people coming together over food was just wonderful to watch over and over and over again. So a lot of those things like equity of voice, like I completely get that from my house. Like, yeah.
And being present and being aware of how you show up and how the way you show up affects other people. I mean, I appreciate you saying that because that's a reminder for me to be more aware of how I show up and the way I speak to people. Yeah,
I'm constantly kind of reminding myself too. You know, you could easily, even with seeing it and it kind of been ingrained, you can easily stray away from it.
Our salad course is called snapping peas. It's mixed greens tossed with a green chutney vinaigrette that's topped with homemade paneer that my mom made specifically for this dinner.
Sprinkled with marigold flowers.
Yeah, the chutney is so reminiscent of home, of Pakistan. Paneer is not reminiscent of home, so it's not like an entirely Desi culture thing. It is like subculture of the Desi culture, and it's like very much, now having been in the U.S. for the past 10 years, very much a part of like what I eat and what I enjoy. So it's like there's like a bit of a borrowed culture feeling and a bit of a reminiscent of childhood in this salad that we just had.
I will speak on the first dish because it's interesting. I know we were talking about how it's interesting to see how people pair things together, but there's certain flavors that we're just used to. Like your grandfather, he was used to having bread with his fish, rice with your gumbo. I'm used to having sweet potatoes with my greens. And the fact that she put that collard green dust on those sweet potatoes, I was like, yes. Like just that commonality that we have, that, you know, there's certain flavor pairings that we're used to having together. And just that sprinkle of, even though it's just a sprinkle of it, a dust of it, it was like, it really set those sweet potatoes off. So that dish and the gumbo dish were my two favorite.
I think for me, I have never had paneer. And so when I read it, I was very curious as to what it was. And then honestly, when I looked at the plate, it's not what I thought it was. So I think I was thinking the chutney was probably what paneer was. So to hear and learn about it was really, really cool. But I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm like still floored by like the first bite of the charred grape. I felt like that charred grape was like kind of life changing. Like they've ruined grapes now because I'm gonna want it charred every time I get grapes. And it was something about the collard green dust on that as well with the mascarpone soursop cream that just felt like that emoji with the brain coming out. Like, what am I eating? And like the textural element of the dust, but the dust was so tasty, and it felt like, I don't know, like salt almost in the way that it punched the flavor. I still can't get over the grape.
Yeah, the grape.
The grape for me.
When
I hadn't really read the menu when they set down the gumbo. So when I saw it, I thought, oh, it's a dal recipe, right? Something lentil or bean, and it was gumbo instead, and that was such a great surprise.
For the third course, we did a take on your classic lobster roll. We used a hearts of palm as the lobster and did a house-made sauce, served it on brioche with pickled onions and chives.
You know, as you're talking about eating cereal and Lay's, what's coming up for me is like how food growing up was always communal, and also in like Pakistani, like Desi culture, food is healing. And so you're always talking about like, you eat turmeric because of the anti-inflammatory, like that's like always like, oh, you should be eating a little bit of like cumin and a little bit of like the pepper, yada yada, because it's healing to your body. And how it's not how food is looked at here in the what is it? Not in all cultures here, but like the more popular sort of like traditional, like not traditional American, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like college American dream is like, you know, microwave this and microwave that, and it's like, yeah, it's like not really food as healing, but food as like fill your belly, do your work. Comfort, yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly vegetarian. I eat everything, but my system and my curiosity about food goes in the vegetarian way. So I've just never really understood like the tofurkey idea, you know, or that it's like, I like tofu because it tastes like tofu and it looks like tofu. I don't need to, you know, shift it into something else. And so I've never had any of the Impossible Burgers or any of that.
I was wondering if there was going to be any canna involved. You know, the bakery line. I was like, wait, what if that's going to make a show? It's going to make an appearance.
They know they need to let me know because I can't drive home. like my eyes just don't see straight.
Yeah.
After any of their desserts.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was here last time and Lovie was like, oh, here, like have a cookie, and I was just like eating it, and then afterwards, like, of course it has canna, and I was like, I'm driving afterwards, like I'm like gobbling down this cookie.
People don't tell you. It's dangerous. Go ahead of time. Honestly, I'm ready for my drink.
I know, me too.
Want my liquor.
It is Sunday.
Oh, the mushrooms.
For a little bit of color play, our cocktail or mocktail is a butterfly pea lavender lemonade served with a slice of lemon. Once you add lemon to butterfly tea, it goes from a beautiful blue to purple tones, and that's kind of the beauty of it. We served it with botanist gin if you so choose.
Fun with chemistry.
Ooh, yes. That pink is beautiful.
Oh my god. Obsessed.
That's pretty great.
Like gravy on a fried corn on a cob.
See how you can't tell.
I like you.
Why does it have to be like this?
I am the person that kicks people when they're down.
I have to be this way.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was so cool. I love that.
This is beautiful. The gin's already mixed in.
Yeah.
Did y'all watch the Grammys and Megan Thee Stallion talking about how she saw Destiny's Child at the rodeo in Houston?
She did say
I
that.
didn't watch the Grammys.
Megan Thee Stallion in her speech talked about how she saw Destiny's Child at the rodeo. Like, Houston, represent.
And then the way, that's amazing. And then she won a Grammy for a song she did with
Beyonce. Yeah.
Yeah, Houston really represented.
Yeah, those are kind of full
Grammys.
circles I need.
Okay.
Like, how do I get a full circle like that? Yeah.
Would you lead us into a toast with that? And maybe folks can add to it.
Definitely not.
So we can.
Definitely not to men.
Okay. Well, what I will say, I will toast to a Sunday stillness with new and old friends, and the beauty and the privilege of the conversations we're able to have in this moment. It's beautiful.
Here, here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Along that conversation.
I'm sorry, wait, I tried to keep up with Janice. I couldn't do it. I was trying to do it with you. I was trying to do it with you. I don't mean to call you out. But
all
I'm
about
just
you, Janice
disappointed in
Bond.
myself because I tried to do it.
Gin can be tough, though. Gin can be tough.
For our fifth course, or our main course, is called the field trip. It's served with a variety of mushrooms, a chicken fried oyster mushroom, a fillet of fish of trumpet oyster mushrooms, and a cluster of enoki mushrooms tempuraed. Served with snow pea leaves, sauteed with garlic and butter, and a celery root puree with the green sauce and hot sauce on the side.
So good. The catfish, what was that? The king oyster, what?
King oyster mushroom.
King oyster mushroom, that was the batter. It had the right amount of spice to it.
That's my mom's hot sauce. And,
Oh, that was your mom's hot sauce?
yeah,
I'm gonna give you my address to give to your mother.
I felt so. It's really beautiful to see my mom's ingredient on a plate that's been presented back to me, that someone else has taken this gift with love and then in turn returned the love back to me in this way. And I never answered that question, the earlier prompt about like who cooked it growing up, and for me it was my mom. And I saw, this immigrant woman raising 3 kids without like any support, any help, working a full-time job, and is still expected to perform all of these acts of domestic labor and love. And she doesn't cook anymore. She has Alzheimer's, and so making the 9 sauce with her was like a way to preserve these memories and her love. And she like can't remember like how to make things on our own because she's forgotten at what step she's at and what we're supposed to do next. And I just feel really loved to see her acts of love and service like on this plate. So I knew they were gonna make me cry at some point.
It's so interesting that we kind of started early on talking about memory and kind of like where we end up now. Like it's really, really, I love that you used the word magic, because that's what I was going to say when we came around to me, is that there was something very magical kind of about that last course. And now I know what it is. It's a lot of things happening on the plate.
Yeah.
This for me was a refreshing way to experience fried food. Because everything was fried, but it didn't have that same, it didn't feel weighty or anything. It was still delicate, it still had a light touch to it. So I definitely appreciated that.
Yeah.
Definitely impressed. It was really good.
And each one of the mushrooms was fried differently.
Right,
Like the batter
right.
was different
Yeah.
than but perfectly fried,
Yeah.
each one of them.
Our 6th course, also known as the dessert, is called Obstacle Course. For this, we prepared a chocolate cake topped with a dark chocolate ganache, black garlic caramel, a mixture of crunchy bits that are cornflakes, Biscoff, waffle cones, all crunched together, and a cardamom mascarpone ice cream on the side, as well as a deconstructed mango cobbler. We had a side of chicatana ant and cardamom sea salt as well to add to your ice cream. We wanted to thank Diverse Works for seeing us as a part of this visionary futures concept, as food being and our dining table being a part of that vision. We really wanted to thank Diverse Works and Ashley De Hoyos, the curator, for the project.
There's an African proverb that goes, if you sit at my table and eat with me, you know who I am. This idea and notion is something that led us throughout the experience, throughout the idea, throughout the curating, the people, and throughout the entire day. I think that people got to know each other, folks that were strangers, got to know one another, and in my heart, I hope that it inspired connections and future possibilities.